Chapter 35: The Grand Royal Vision of Peace, the Silent Evolution, and Brutal Changes. A first disclaimer. All persons in this book are fictional. All statements, regardless of topic, are just that, statements. Some are rooted in empirical facts, while others are pure fantasy. My goal is to strike a balance between vision and reality, between fiction and fact, in such a way that the audience can recognize themselves in it and continue to play with the swarm of ideas and notions. The book has no ambition to preach an overarching goal, but rather questions accepted truths. In this way, in a Socratic manner, the rest is left to the audience. Peace on earth. Yes, you can dream. Most people long for peace and harmony. But there are actually quite a few who desire conflict just as much. They want to wage war on others. They issue manifestos calling for the murder of neighboring peoples and for the removal of unwanted souls. For example, if you belong to a specific ethnic group or hold an ideology, belief, or religion that is deemed undesirable or inappropriate. Not least, there is the urge to conquer, where those in power seek influence over territories beyond their own national borders. They want a larger sphere of influence. Lebensraum. The thirst for power lies at the core. This brief overview and analysis of geopolitical conditions has historically proven to be remarkably stable. Arne Finn pondered these insoluble problems quite a bit. At the same time, he had gotten himself entangled with a rather younger, exercise-addicted fitness instructor from Spenst. Yes, we remember that Freeman's father had done the same. But Freeman's father was a few years older and had truly begun to feel the struggle with his prostate. Arne Finn was in his late 50s. Had divorced his wife of the same age in favor of this partly young woman. Arne Finn was already panicking. He felt that life was slipping through his fingers. The hourglass had only a few modest grains of sand left in the upper chamber. He checked the clock incessantly and felt anxiety. Not only anxiety over ever lower testosterone levels, but also over the shockingly changeable world out there. The anxiety became particularly pronounced when he sat and closely followed the fluctuations of the cryptocurrency market. He had invested a significant sum in Ethereum, but the curves were pointing the wrong way, and he felt the fear of losing everything. His younger, newly found friend from Spenst would occasionally come home to him, and there would be relief and comfort from the wicked world. But the euphoria was short-lived. The encounter with reality was long-lasting. In his philosophical corner, he could brood over why some things are fleeting, temporarily limited, and others long-lasting, from here to eternity. He had a large book about the universe standing on his bookshelf, which he liked to leaf through when all kinds of spiraling thoughts about the present and eternity were at their worst. It calmed his mind to see the enormous distances and dimensions out there in the cosmos. In outer space, other parameters applied, millions of light years and an utterly inconceivable slowness. The short pleasures belong to the animal kingdom here on Earth. Short perspectives, quick gains. His thoughts immediately turned to his Ethereums. They could vanish this very moment. But worst of all was probably the rapidly declining testosterone level. It barely reached his ankle. Yes, there were great problems piling up. He opened the screen cover and swiped through the news feed, snapped it shut quickly, and sat back stunned. The world out there was in the process of coming apart at the seams. He simply could not handle this strain. He had to get out. At Dagmar's cafe, he sat down with a hot cup of coffee and a piece of chocolate cake. At the neighboring table sat an elderly lady. She looked thoughtfully over at him and ventured a questioning remark. "You look very worried." He couldn't respond right away, but thought that indeed the anxiety must be visibly written all over him. Eventually, they had a very interesting and pleasant conversation. She turned out to be a very wise woman. Her fields of interest were biotechnology and geopolitics. Conversations about hormones and war and peace and such actually became quite frequent as time went on. Perhaps she had the solution to the testosterone and war, peace riddle.